are open. Oh. Place your bets, Bobby. Place your bets. Predictions open. Place your bets on who you think. Oh god. Messed up a little bit. It's fine. You can piece all the letters together. Predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will go and who faces off against Classic in the next round is spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg, representing himself. He is currently teamless, looking for a team. It is DRG. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran, representing his new team, Cloud9. It is GuMiho. Boy, again, it's not just about the Protosses here in the qualifier. We do have that one lone Zerg player, and DRG looking to try to make an insane run here. DRG, we actually were able to cast quite a lot of him over the past month in the IM Katowice qualifiers. DRG alongside Classic, they were so tenacious, playing in every single region's server qualifier. In Korea, in Europe, and in Asia, and in the Americas as well. And DRG was looking damn good. He was even looking to take down Byun in the Korea qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken. Where DRG was leading 2-1, and then Byun was able to bring it all back in a best of 5 and win it in the end and qualify for IEM. But DRG, he was so close, so damn close. He was looking so strong, so powerful, and we'll see if he can make up for it here in the Masters Coliseum qualifiers. We'll see. But now it's going to be a 2-Rax opener out of GuMiho. It's going to be 2-Rax Reaper. We have the option to go for a 3rd Rax as well, but GuMiho is looking and opting to go, I imagine, for an expand behind this. So just 2 Raxes for the time being. For those that are curious, this opener is designed to punish and contain your opponent, punish the 3rd base essentially. If DRG is a little bit too greedy, if the Overlord doesn't scout, which it isn't by the way, then we could actually force a cancel. We could contain DRG to 2 bases. So far, the Reaper does dip into the main base. We do not get a kill on the drone. Good control out of DRG. Does keep the worker alive as we slip into the main base. And we do force out another Spore. 3rd base soon to be taken. Link speed already on the way. And with the arrival of the 2nd Reaper, it looks like we have recognized what's been going on. 3rd base is still on the way here from DRG, but it is going to be scouted by GuMiho, and GuMiho, he has options. He can make another wave of Reapers. As I mentioned before, his goal here is to force a cancel, is to contain and deny the 3rd. Yeah, we have the 4th Reaper on the way, so we can sometimes go up to 5 Reapers, but we're going to be cutting here at 4, and 4 should be enough to cancel. Queen's going to try and waddle in, but there's no saving this 3rd. Yeah, we force a cancel, we get a kill on the drone. And this is already worth it for GuMiho. Already well worth it. Resources were invested and didn't really pay off here for DRG. And he is amassing quite a lot of links. GuMiho has to be careful, he has to make sure he pulls back, and again, GuMiho, he's aware of the link speed timing. He's racing back home, getting onto the other side of the wall. And now DRG's in a really rough position. He invested so much into all these lings. Half of these lings could have been drones. And because he invested all this lava into this, he has to make it worth his while. But there's nothing to do. The Reapers are safe. They're behind the wall. They're not going to go down anytime soon. And the lings can't touch this wall either. So DRG's in a pretty rough position from here. He's droning up as hard as he can. He's retaking his 3rd base. He's spreading creep. GuMiho looking comfortable. And behind this, we're following this up. Oh, with something very aggressive. This is not a 2-1-1. This is a 3-1-1. A 3rd Rax has been thrown down. This is going to be quite committed. It's going to be a very committed push here from GuMiho. We're going to be going for an add-on swap. Oh, actually, I'm curious if we will. Usually we go into an add-on swap into Medivacs. We could keep the reactor on the factory and make Hellions to just add some more DPS to this, depending on how committed we want to be. I'm really curious if we do go for like double Medivac production or Hellion production to see like how aggressive we are. I mean, regardless, it's a delayed 3rd. A very late 3rd TC here from GuMiho. As we are going to be going for the add-on swap. Medivacs is going to be on the way. Stim is about to finish up, by the way, and GuMiho is already pushing. DRG back at home. We have a safety Bailey nest that will help, especially if we did have Hellbats on the way. Queens are pushing forward. How many queens do we have? 6, soon to be 8 queens. A pretty respectable amount. Gonna be denying a lot of creep. Queens getting exposed. You can see DRG trying to set up a surround. He's coming in from behind. And it looks like he will collapse on this army. A big pick off here. A big catch on GuMiho. And punishing GuMiho for being a little bit too adventurous with this army, as everything's gonna get cleaned up. Again, GuMiho, if he wanted to, could have waited for the medevacs. That's all we had to do, wait for the medevacs, but no, GuMiho wanted to be aggressive, and he gets punished. Whew. And just like that, DRG, he's in a better position here. He's dealt with half of the army. Now we can only move out with 2 medevacs full of Marines. How many Marines died? 12? Oh my god. Essentially half of the army. And now DRG, he's free to drone. He's droning, getting a 4th base. Double Evo chambers are on the way. Lair's about to finish up for bathing speed. DRG is looking comfortable. And suddenly the pressure is on GuMiho. Especially because still no 3rd. No 3rd base. It was already delayed. Oh, we're doubling down. There's still no 3rd, and we're not going to make a 3rd because that is a 4th and 5th racks. This is looking like a 2 base all-in at a GuMiho. Oh my god. I mean, we are on Golden Aura. Golden Aura has a very short rush distance by ground, so this makes sense. Unfortunately, GuMiho already lost a lot of momentum. That's the problem here, is that if you can keep the ball rolling, if you can start knocking down those dominoes, then go for it, right? Snowball out of control. But GuMiho already lost a lot of firepower here, so this is very risky. A very risky move here from GuMiho. We'll see if it can pay off. This time, he's not hitting just with Stim. Combat Shields is finishing up, +1 attack is finishing up as well. Now, talking a little bit about DRG, we have to be careful not to be too greedy. We have a Hydra Den on the way. Hydras are not something we want right now. We want Lings and Banelings and like 66 drones at most. If we tech up too much, if we invest too much into like an infestation pit, into a Hydra Den, Lunker Den, Hive Tech, like this is not something that we can really afford right now just because of how aggressive GuMiho is. We need an army more than anything. Here we go, GuMiho getting in position. He's within range of those gas geysers. Oh, decent surround here with the Lings. We target down the medevac. Oh my god. Nice pickles here from DRG. Gas geyser will fall. DRG still amassing more Lings. Behind this, we throw down a 2nd factory, by the way. Still no 3rd base. GuMiho still very much so 2 base all in. We have a medevac drop going into the main base. We have reinforcements on the way as well. A really good tank positioning here behind these mineral patches. Drop is going to be deflected, but does unload at the 4th. Hydras are on the way. Again, I'm a little bit concerned here for DRG. Up, but GuMiho's not looking. We'll lose some Marines. Behind this, we try to collapse on the Marines as well. Bailey's will connect, and it looks like we can get on top of this army. It's really awkward, very limited surface area. Up, but we're barely breaking through. We get on top of 1 tank, 2 tanks, and the 3rd tank is gonna go down. We clean up the army, and GuMiho is forced back. And again, no 3rd CC, still a 2 base all in. Like, we're just doubling down. Here comes wave. What is this, wave 3? Wave 4? Was that? The 2 base all in continues for GuMiho, as it's pushing out once again. How many tanks do we have left? We have 3 tanks remaining. A pretty good tank count. Again, we are cranking out 2 tanks at a time with that 2nd factory. That 1 tank so very low from earlier. GuMiho is pushing. DRG droning up to 77. Ooh, have we been too greedy? Uh-oh. As DRG is going for a counterattack, he does cripple the economy, but GuMiho, he was all in anyway. He doesn't care. Does not care. 23 ACVs go down. GuMiho is pushing. DRG does pull away. We need as much Ling Bane as possible here. Making as much as he can. 1 base does fall. The longer this goes on, the better it is for DRG. GuMiho's on the timer. GuMiho is on a timer. He is up in army supply. Bear that in mind. GuMiho can win a fight. Which is terrifying. Good tanks are looking to get in position. We catch a handful of reinforcements. DRG setting up for a surround. How many tanks do we have now? 5. 5 tanks with the main army. Now again, DRG has to be as patient as possible. He just has to wait for the opportune moment, make sure he doesn't come in too prematurely. Time is on his side. We need to make use of it. GuMiho is slowly pushing forward, and here we go. DRG going for the collapse. He's pushing in. He gets one of the tanks. The other tank unsieged, by the way. And it looks like we will clean this up. DRG has more than enough here to force back the army of GuMiho. The medevacs are so low. Can we get them? We get 1. We get 2. Tanks are sieging. A bit of a brutal choke point here, but it looks like we should have enough here with these banelings. And we take down the final tank. And DRG did double expand. He's going to be losing this northern hatchery, I believe. But he has a 4th. And against a 2-basing player, like a 4th is all you need. And DRG should have more than enough now. He should be feeling pretty comfortable. He's got a couple of Hydras mixed in. Yes, but plenty of Link Bane. 2-2's about to finish up. Another wave of army is coming from GuMiho. Another 2 more tanks. But again, for the most part, GuMiho, he's lost what's been like the main bulk of his army. He lost 5 tanks earlier. That was it. That was his moment. That was his moment as he's wedging himself in between bases, getting himself the Bailey Nest. Big pickoff. Bailey Nest does go down. DRG trying to catch reinforcements, but there are none. Pick off a queen. Pretty good pickoffs here from GuMiho. Behind this, he's still amassing another army. Or amassing reinforcements. But it's just a numbers game here, and I don't know if we can really pull this off. The reinforcements are about to waddle onto creep. Not like this. Ailing does connect. Yeah, the tank gets caught out. A nice catch here from DRG. GuMiho is down to 26 SCVs. It's been all or nothing for quite some time at this point. I mean, it's been impressive, like what GuMiho was able to accomplish, but again, just was not enough. I do think the pivotal moment was when he lost his tanks at that linear 4th base, and here we go, the Banes, they crash in! They connect, we save a good chunk of Marines, but the tanks are going to be going down, drop into the main base. These medevacs are so low. GG gets called, and DRG will take game number 1. Whew. Surviving against a 13-minute 2-base all-in. That was... oh my god. GG, well played. And that is a little bit scary because, as a reminder, this is a best of 3, not a best of 5. DRG only needs 1 more here to advance on. Meanwhile, GuMiho needs to bring it back here and now to force an ace match. Oh boy. The pressure is on. And again, it wasn't a bad start from GuMiho. Remember, he denied the 3rd base, he preserved all of his Reapers, he forced out a lot of Lings. The follow-up was where he lost a lot of steam. Remember, winding it back like 10 minutes ago, when GuMiho pushed with Stim before medevacs. Remember, he pushed out like 20 seconds before medevacs popped. And he got caught, he got surrounded, he lost 12 Marines. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that was half his army. And that meant that the eventual medevac timing was that much weaker as well, and DRG was getting more and more comfortable. The next big, like, scary moment for DRG was the tank push, where he had, like, the 3 tanks behind the mineral line. That was a pretty brutal, like, position for GuMiho to take advantage of, but even though it was a really good position, he wasn't threatening a lot. He was really within range of 1 gas geyser. That's it. He wasn't really doing a lot of damage there, so DRG was eventually able to deal with it, able to clean it up, and... GG. GG, well played. With that, we're getting into game number 2 on Site Delta. And this morning, in the bottom right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Club... at one point used to represent Club NV. You know, he's still there in spirits, but currently teamless. It is DRG. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Cloud9. Down in this series, we're going to fight back. It is GuMiho. Feeling like 2010 all over again. True. GuMiho and DRG, very old school players, been around since the beginning, especially in the Korean scene. And they're both amazing at what they do, you know. Despite both these players being in the qualifiers, GuMiho is the runner-up of ESL Masters Summer. He was second only to Serral, and that was only a couple of months ago, in DreamHack Yongshiping. So GuMiho is very much so in form. That's why Cloud9 picked him up. He's, you know, very unpredictable, very aggressive, and still a very, very powerful player. Meanwhile, DRG has been having a bit of a rougher year on paper, I guess, but he's been getting some really good results. I mentioned earlier that DRG was looking damn powerful in the IM Katowice qualifiers a couple of weeks ago. He was even looking better than Bjorn in his series, to be honest. So DRG is no slouch. There's a reason why he's leading this series, and yeah, it's not going to be an easy one for GuMiho, despite him having a more successful year. Boy. Yeah, these qualifiers are cutthroats. You know, it's single elimination, best of threes. Only one slot, only one spot. Brutal, puppy, brutal. This time we can see GuMiho is going for a much more standard opener. It's going to be a Rax expand at a GuMiho. No more 2-rack shenanigans. With this, DRG is going to be able to take his natural, and this time he's going to be able to take his third and hold on to it. So both players are going to be a little bit more comfortable in the early game, more so DRG than GuMiho compared to game 1. Ooh, as we do pick off one of those lings, not a bad pick off here. GuMiho getting very low with that Reaper, but will escape. He's going to scout the linear third. He does confirm the hatchery on location, and behind this, a very economic opener. Last game, it was a 13-minute 2-base all-in. This game, 3cc before starport. The polar opposites, just hyper aggression in game 1 and hyper greed in game number 2. We love to see it. Again, it just goes to show that GuMiho is a very unpredictable player, and I mean, again, a 2-base all-in on Golden Aura makes sense just because of the rush distance by ground. Likewise, Side Delta is known for longer games, is known for the mid to late game especially, so GuMiho is embracing that. Which means we should be seeing more of a back and forth. We should be. We'll see. We'll see where DRG takes us as well. For now, Lings are moving out. Likewise, Hellion production has commenced, has been spotted by this Overlord. So DRG has a decent idea of what's going on. The Lings, they do slip by the Hellions though. They get into the mineral line, and we're going to get 2 SCVs go down. Big pickoffs to Hellions. They're racing back home. We get a Marine. We get a second Marine as well. Good trades here from DRG, and quickly checking his vision. What did he see up the ramp? He saw the Tech Lab researching, which is a pretty big scout. This is a tell that this is not going to be, oh my god, that it's not going to be Banshee production. Instead, we're prioritizing that bio upgrade instead. The Hellions are going to be threatening a dive here on the right-hand side. Oh, and the Queens do get out of position. Drones are going to get picked up. 2 workers for 1 Reaper. Not too bad. Pretty good pickoff from GuMiho. Again, across the map, we do have a 2-1-1 setup here. Very bio-heavy. We have a couple of Hellions here for map control, but only 4. Again, we're not investing too heavily into these Hellions because we're going for the add-on swap, so no reactor on the factory. And we will soon be on the map with these medevacs. So it is a 3cc 2-1-1 from GuMiho. So very bio-oriented, which is very important to point out just because GuMiho has played mech before, and mech has been a little bit trendy recently, especially with the new Cyclone. So important to note that GuMiho is staying away from that. Third CC is being taken. We have our 1-1 upgrades on the way from both players. DRG should soon be working on his lair. I'm a little bit surprised that, again, he hasn't already started working on it, but should be up next. And there we go. Lair is on the way. Additional gases as well. Lair in the main base. Now, because of this opener from GuMiho, from DRG, he's being a little bit greedy. Basically, he delayed his lair, which delays the bathing nest, which delays bathing speed, in favor of faster upgrades. So he's going to have very well upgraded lings, but he will have delayed bathings as a result. So it's going to be a bit of an interesting defense here. I mean, so far, he's going to be able to keep up with the drops, and he should be able to get away with this. Again, this opener or this build from DRG is something that you usually do against a player that's going 3cc. Because they're being economic, you know that you can cut corners yourself, and there's no rush to get into banelings. So DRG responding to the build of his opponent, and yeah, he's going to be able to get away with that. Getting away with a little bit of greed. The more tech-heavy style. Behind this, getting his 4th up and running, just going to be droning. We're droning up to 70, a pretty solid worker count, and now we can focus on army production to make sure that we are able to survive the 7-minute push. We're nearing that mark. Basically, at around the 7-minute mark, GuMiho is going to be able to get into 1-1. The 1-1 upgrades are finishing up, and then we can push with Marines and typically tanks, but we can see that GuMiho is avoiding tanks and going into Widow Mines instead. Widow Mine production has commenced. GuMiho is pushing. Going to be clearing up quite a bit of creep. But mainly creep here. Again, doesn't really have too much of a backbone to this army. There's no major factory-based units. So DRG is going to be able to hold on and ideally respread that creep. There we go. Hydrogen is on the way. Bailing speed. Lair is now done. 5th base as well. Yeah, both players are just kind of getting into the swing of things. Now finally GuMiho is in the field with a bit of a split push. He's got his main army here towards the north, keeping the attention of DRG up towards the northern part of the map. And we have a double jump going straight to the main base, actually, not going for the 5th. We have a couple of lings in position. More lings are on the way. GuMiho will still unload at the same time, diving on in. Ooh, does take a bathing to the face. Getting on top of the queens at the same time, a massive ling counterattack. Oh my god! The lings, the 1-1 lings, they wreak havoc. They take down 18 SCVs. Bailey's crash on forward as well. Big mine hits. But alas, GuMiho will lose his main army in the main base. He also gets cleaned up, and he lost every SCV across the map. Just very quickly, things escalating out of control in favor of DRG. The drop play still continuing, but it is not going to be enough. We can maybe force a cancel here on this hatchery. Oh, it's going to be close. Yeah, we should force a cancel and hopefully not a kill. It's going to be a kill. 300 minerals down the drain. Not a bad pickoff here from GuMiho, but he still lost so much at the 3rd. Down to 1 SCV and only mules as well. Got that, wouldn't mind. Meanwhile, GuMiho just being as active as possible. The creep has not been respread. We haven't had the opportunity to do so. And GuMiho is rallying everything across the map. Right now, the pressure is on the Terran to make something happen. To make up for all those dead workers. What am I in the main base going off? 5 more drones going down. DRG's economy is hurting. GuMiho is pushing. Bane is amassing. The Widow Mines up! We get some decent connections from those Widow Mines. DRG chasing this off of creep. Overextending a little bit, but he does catch some of these Marines. Does force this back. And with that, DRG is recovering in that economy. Joining back up, getting up to 66. An okay worker count. Meanwhile, do we have an infestation pit? We do not. Uh-oh. GuMiho, he is not missing a beat when it comes to his upgrades. 3-3 is on the way. Meanwhile, DRG still has to work on his infestation pit, hive, and then 3-3. Oh no, he's not looking! GuMiho, asleep at the wheel there, takes massive Baileys to the face. And DRG, he can chase this all the way back to the 3rd base for a 2nd time. Bailings, they do peel off, but we have reinforcements. GuMiho is going to be forcing DRG back. Averting disaster, but DRG did have a better engagement, a better fight. Squeezing out a couple more workers, trying to saturate this 5th. Trying to respread that creep. GuMiho, he knows that he has a little bit of momentum here towards the north just because of how little creep there is. And he has to keep pushing. You know, trying to force some friendly fire with those Widow Mines. We clean up the ground army. The Baileys connect. GuMiho, he's running out of steam. I was hoping for an ace match. I was hoping this could go to game 3, but DRG is in control. Again, the game-winning move was that big lane counterattack we saw earlier, killing 20 workers, and GuMiho is still trying to recover from that. Does catch this harassing force at least. Does catch the link vein. But again, DRG still has momentum on his side. He's droned it back up to 74. A solid economy, solid worker counts. Still lacking the infestation bit, still lacking the hive tech. That's what I'm really concerned about. The longer this goes on, like GuMiho's, the quality of the army is going to be insane. 3-3 is about to finish for the Terran. But the numbers. There we go. The numbers are still on DRG's side. He may not have the quality, but he has the quantity. Does force back the army. There we go. Now the infestation bit's on the way. This is very late from DRG. 3-3 is done. There we go. We get on top of the Marauders. We get on top of the Medevacs, more importantly. Medevacs are going to be going down. We will lose the Hydras, though. GuMiho is going to be pushing, and this is dragging DRG a little bit out of position. Thankfully, he does keep an army here towards the north. It's not looking... once again, we catch some of these Marines. We catch out the army. And GG gets called. GuMiho knows that he just doesn't have enough. He ran out of steam. And DRG will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the qualifying match. GG. GG, well played. I was hoping for an ace match, regardless of whether it went the way of GuMiho or DRG. I was hoping to get a little bit more out of these two players, but unfortunately, did end here in a 2-0. Congratulations to DRG, of course, for advancing on. My condolences to GuMiho. Game 1 was brutal. Game 1, the writing was kind of on the wall with the first push, and it was a little bit similar here, actually, as well, in game number 2, where we had kind of built up towards this big 7-minute attack, if you remember, from GuMiho. And when he committed for it, he just wasn't set up to defend back at home, or he wasn't expecting a massive Ling counterattack. And specifically because DRG had rushed into 1-1, his Lings were that much more deadlier as well. It didn't take long at all for them to just annihilate the mineral line, and suddenly GuMiho was all in. Suddenly he was committed. He had to be, because he had lost so much back at home. And DRG, he was able to recover, or DRG, he was able to survive, able to deflect the aggression without losing too much, and able to overwhelm GuMiho in the end. GG, well played. With that, we have one series left. It all comes down to this.